So now we're going to start talking about different data types. Before I do that, I'm just going to erase what I had on here. I'm going to change the name. We'll just do test.apex. And this is going to change the, right here in Visual Studio Code, if you wanted to change the language mode, you can just click right here and it'll change what language it is. And this makes it easier for Visual Studio Code to identify the language, and then also if there's any methods or classes that it will try to find and help become more clear of why and how it becomes a little bit more helpful than just a plain text. The first data type that I'm going to go through is strings. And strings are any set of characters surrounded by single quotes. So for example, if I just had single quotes, and I type in Apex string lesson, this is a string data type. Now, because it has the single quotes, we don't have it assigned in a variable right now. However, because it's a string, we can still use different methods for it, such as .length. So this would, if I then wrap this in system debug so that we can see it, and then run it with our shorthand, I can see that the length of this string is 18. Now with that, we can also assign it to a variable, and that's what's going to happen most of the time. You actually don't want to do really any hard coding of strings when we start talking about classes, but this is going to be something that is used quite a bit. So we will be doing, so if we have a variable for string data type of S variable, and I do apex string lesson, now S is going to be holding that string lesson. So that's just the assignment of strings. I can also add two strings together if I wanted to. So I could add, let's say, string A is equal to apex is, string B is equal to fun. Now what I can do is I can have a string C and do A plus B, and that's going to concat them both together. So then if I debug C and then run this, you'll see that in the debug, apex is fun. Now we can see in string A, there is no space at the end, and in string B, there is no space in the beginning. So then if I add the space, then we can see apex is fun. The other way that we could do it is, instead of putting it here, we could also add in right here a space like this. And then it should have the same outcome of apex is fun, just in a different way. Right here, apex is fun. Perfect. So we can also manipulate the string with the set of methods that we have from the string class, and the full list of what you can do within a string. So this is whenever anything is a string, it automatically has this class and this list of methods that you can use with any string type. So it's quite a big list. We're not going to go through all of the different methods that are in this string class. So if you wanted to, in any search engine, just type in apex string class, and generally that's the first one that's going to come up. This is Salesforce's documentation, their actual documentation from developer.salesforce.com. They have a very wide variety of documentation that is available, and it is pretty robust for what what it has within there. Oops. So then what we can do is I'm going to be going over a couple of methods that I use quite a bit, and just to give us a little bit more time to play with strings and to get a little bit of a better understanding of what we can do within the string and string classes. So let's say, for example, I'm looking to get a portion of the string. There's a class or a method called substring, and this method is looking for the starting index and the ending index. And within the ending index, it's actually the ending, it puts in the ending index -1, which I'll talk about a little bit. We can actually bring up the documentation right here. And if I go to substring right here, I can see returns a new string that begins with a character at a specified 0 base start index and extends the character at end index -1. So if we take a look at this string, we'll use string s. We can see that within this string, we have the length of being 18, but then for the index is starting at 0. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way to 17 is really the last index number. And then so let's say that I want to get this string, just the word string from here. I can do s.substring. And then if I put in the index that I want to start it from, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 being the space, and then 5 is the S. And then I just want to go to this string, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but then it's also 10 -1. That's kind of where the -1 comes in. It's going to be 11. So then if I do system.debug, and actually I need to take this in right here. And I can see right here within the debug, we have string, the word string. So a couple other ones that we can use is toLowercase. And so what toLowercase is going to do is, just like the method suggests, it's going to change everything to be lowercase. So then if I have string, let's say x is equal to apex, string y is equal to apex, put in all lowercase, and then I try to debug, but I want to do x contains y. So this is just going to see, it's a different method to see whether or not the string is going to contain the same thing. So it's going to check and see. And it comes out as false. So then if I do, let's see, x is a 2 lowercase, and then contain. So first I'm going to run that to be lowercase, so that way they should all be the same. You can see right here that it's true. So a couple of other methods that is used quite a bit is, one is the string value of. So let's say that I have, well, actually we can just do string s is equal to, right now this is going to error, so I have an integer of 1 because it doesn't have the single quotes and it's a number, so this is going to be an integer. What I can do instead is, if I want it to be a string, then this won't error because it is a string now. So the string.valueOf is going to change it to string. And this doesn't work. It works for more than just integers. It works for anything, any type of object you can turn into a string doing it this way. Or any data type. So I can see here, debug of 1. It doesn't have an error because it turned it into a string. The other thing that I can check is if you wanted to check and see if a string is blank or null, I can do string.isBlank of s. So now when this is, because this was declared without any value, really this is going to be null. So I can also check that as well. If I do system debug of s, we're going to see that that's going to be null. See, and I can see that's null, and then that's true. Also, if I wanted it to be blank, so this is blank is going to check to see whether it's null or blank, which can be very helpful, especially when you're looking for to see if there's going to be any errors. You see it's blank, and then true. So one other method that isn't as widely used, but is still used every once in a while, or I'll use it every once in a while, is going to be the string format. And what this can do is it's going to, you create a format of what you want the string to be. So let's say a string template, and I'm going to do, and I'll explain what this is going to do at 1. Okay, so within here, I have these curly braces of 0 and curly braces of 1. So within this template, what I'm going to be doing is I'm next going to be creating a list object for the values of where I want to put, of what I want to put within this 0 and then the 1. So really right now I'm just denoting there's something that I want to put here and there's something that I want to put here as well. And that's just with the 0 and 1. So then if I go list, so I want it to say a case number has been modified and then at what date. I'm going to do object and values, new list, object, and then I'm just going to create the strings right away. Date, new instance. Okay, and we'll be going over dates a little bit later, but what this is doing is it's creating a new date for February, or not, for January 1st of 2018. So what this is going to say is it's within this list of object, we have the case number and then the date. And then we're going to then use this template and we're going to format it so that way the output is going to combine the case number, which is going to go in this 0 curly brace, and then the date, which is going to go into the 1 curly brace. Debug. And I want to do template and values. Got an error. And this one's an error. Oh, I know what's going on. So if I do string format, sorry, I forgot to wrap these in the format. There. I can see for the debug, I got the case number was modified at, and then the date of when it was modified. And that concludes the lesson for strings, and there's many more things that you can do with strings. We'll be kind of going through different types of variations for strings later on.